Thank you, CCUA. Genesee is a proud partner of CCUA, and we're appreciative of the value that you and your team bring to the credit union industry, especially in the area we get to witness on a regular basis, which is the enablement and education around fintech and technology that is top of mind for credit unions that you serve. And thank you for all that joined us today and that are watching a recording of us in the future. We know you have a lot of places you can be and things to do, especially as we head into the last quarter of the year. So appreciate you taking the time. The topic of our discussion today is around how we can break down barriers around integration. The CCUA team has done a great job of highlighting an excellent array of member enablement solutions during the course of this webinar series, and I know we're wrapping it up. So what Genesee does is more in the background. We alleviate the challenges fintechs and credit unions face around integrating together so that you can both accelerate time to market and have the ability to bring solutions on in an effective way. Now, let's start with there really is a lot out there, right? As you stare into this word cloud, what pops out at you? Does your focus go to digital? Are you thinking about cloud? Do you have a lot of fraud on your mind? Are you thinking about how you're bringing on onboarding solutions? Now, much like this slide, we know it's a busy world out there as it relates to fintech, and there's so many amazing solutions out there. Not only are there so many new companies constantly popping up. The breadth of solutions that are expanding beyond traditional banking categories can certainly be a challenge to keep up with. So that kind of leads into why Genesee does what we do. Gone are the days where you could think about a solution for years before implementing, right? We don't have that timeline. In this fast changing and competitive landscape, the technology decisions are certainly done in a more compressed time span. And so the reason why we exist is to facilitate this innovation in the industry. The last thing we want is for integration to be a barrier to that. So furthermore, as credit unions navigate an increasingly digital and competitive financial landscape, staying ahead of this emerging fintech trends is critical. For the sake of this conversation, we highlighted a subset of the trends we see via some of our current and hopefully future ecosystem partners who benefit from real-time integration, things like financial inclusion, really how to engage the underserved communities and providing more affordable and accessible options, right? Better mobile banking opportunities. I mean, with the stat of 78% of under 40s, would stay with their institution if it was fully digital, that kind of thing. API monetization, how do you effectively partner with third parties and, create new revenue streams to like other less traditional areas like, embedding finance, leveraging blockchain, finding kind of alternative data sources in order to expand and improve kind of personalized products. I'm sure all these bullet points sound very familiar to the audience, but these trends not only shape the broader industry, but also offer unique opportunities for credit unions to enhance member services, drive growth, and improve operational efficiency. Even with a focused set of strategic goals, we acknowledge that it can be easy to fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, right? When you're prioritizing the options to best suit the needs of your members. There's a lot out there again. And sidebar, but totally relevant, how great is it that you have a partner in CCUA who helps you vet partnerships that align with industry-focused needs and regulations so you're able to quickly engage with the right vendors. But even with that vetting, right, the lingering question that always tends up when evaluating new technology is, do you work with my core? This used to be a question, maybe, that used to, had the potential to kill a project before it even started. I mean, I hear it come up quite a bit lately. I've witnessed in action on stage, probably at a CCUA event as well, that, you imagine a crowd. A fintech has this amazing demo. The speakers totally captivated the crowd. The excitement's super high. A bunch of hands go up for questions. Someone gets handed a mic, and then the first question is like, how do you work with ABC Core, or some version of this dreaded question? And the speaker is totally like a deer in headlights, and they like stumble and kind of like figure out some sort
It's
of
on
thing
our
to say, right? Yeah,
roadmap. We're
yeah,
we're working on it.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well,
We started with Pfizer DNA, or we started with, Jack Henry, and like then it kills all the momentum in that
well,
environment.
Masako, if I can add to this, so
Yeah.
25 years ago, I got into the credit union space, and here I'm this bright-eyed young really in the technology side of the business. And I met with lending, and they'd like to do automatic underwriting. I met with, our deposit team, and they want to do like a rewards checking. And I would get like slapped back down saying, well, our core doesn't support that. Our core can't integrate with that. I mean, it was like ingrained into the culture of that credit union I was working with. And I was like, well, why? Why
Yep.
can't we solve this problem? And 25 years, it took 25 years to get to really this point. But
Yeah.
it's something I think we're all trained to figure out. Do you work with my legacy systems? How could we actually accomplish just what we need to do for our members and our employees?
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle. And if you think about like the alternative ending to this one stage presence, or just in every conversation, right? The desired ending is that a fintech shouldn't care what core you have, because they know that they can work with any of them and then get immediately to the actual value of their solution, rather than spend all this time integrating and kind of losing again the momentum of even the excitement of bringing on a new solution. So it really opens up a whole new world when vendors that you as a credit union work with and have they've strategically configured effective integrations that are now solely focused on how their product works for you, not wasting time on customs integrations or one-to-one integrations that can't be repeated, and they can get to real work. So what does that look like? What if you could enable various business use cases on your strategic plan concurrently or immediately, one after another? Currently, we have some enterprise clients we call financial institutions that have chosen us as their middleware solution as an enterprise client. We've seen them be able to accelerate implementations by consolidating and compressing timelines because their core was mapped to our integration layer already. We've had some that bring on kind of like new accounting, some money movement solutions, some, small underwrite like Salus, right? Which was a product featured, technology featured earlier in the webinar series. But, they've been able to bring multiple solutions at the same time so that they can easily meet the needs of their members. Again, the possibilities are really endless and always expanding with every conversation that we have. Now, what's exciting from the business use case standpoint is then you start to identify multiple solutions that may meet that need. On this slide, there's some of our fintechs that are part of our ecosystem, and you can already see that in this small group, there's a few that are competitive with each other, or like kind of do similar things, right? And that's on purpose. We don't pick and choose who can join our ecosystem. We want it to be open to all, so that any fintech and any credit union can be able feel that they can work with each other. And for credit union, that choice means the ability to make the best decision for your credit union, for your members, and not those that are tied to even your core's ecosystem. And again, or even ours. In fact, some of those credit unions I mentioned that are enterprise clients of ours, they've made the decision to leverage JNC as a middleware layer, but then they're also bringing new solutions to bear. One example is we have a credit union that is working with a accounting package that's very large, right? They're probably not near term going to join the Genesee Genesee platform, but they have well documented APIs. They for anybody to be able to write to.
Yep.
So what we do is write a client service. We do the translation, and we upkeep the APIs for this credit union so that they don't have to keep, redoing their direct to core integration. So you can choose from what's already there and already vetted, or you can bring some of your own parties to bear. Yeah. So I've talked about our why. I'm going to hand it over to Kyle, but I am Masako Long. I am the VP of Sales here at Genesee. And the reason why I joined is because I did see firsthand how the lack of efficiency around core integration slowed the adoption of an otherwise amazing product, right? You spend so much time trying to figure out core integrations, but um, when you work with someone like us, or we have competitors out there, but that can do this so that you can bring immediate value to your credit union via some of the partners that have a strategy around integration, then you know it helps all in the industry, but it helps you specifically grow. So I'm really passionate about ushering in excellent solutions for this industry, as are my colleagues. So I'll hand it over to Kyle, our CEO and co-founder of Genesee.
Thanks, Masako. That's a great overview of all the things we're doing and the problem we're solving. As Masako said, there's others out there that work in this, and we welcome those that work and try to help solve this barrier that's between credit unions and the solutions they want to work with, the business cases they want to enable. What we do that's different is that we do it all in a hosted platform for our industry. And so, that example Masako gave even about the accounting solution, we've written a client service, as she called it, the client service that helps work between cores and that accounting system. And that's work that can be reused for other institutions. So you don't have to be on the same Scimitar-based system that credit union's on, working with that accounting system. You could be on any of 12 to 15 other cores that are out there and still be able to talk to that accounting system or any of those on the platform. So it's really, for us, it's about the collaborative nature of our industry and taking that into a platform, being your partner to bridge the gap so that we can help. We don't expect credit unions to have a large cloud team, if any. We don't expect the credit unions to have everyone has somebody that's working with the core, but to know your underlying data sets and to know your APIs is not something that we're usually all trained on or that's readily available. So we're that team that comes and bridges not just the technology side, but also understanding the cultures of the fintechs and then just being in our credit union and community financial institution world in order to make those things happen. And it's really fun. We get to work on innovative things every day, whether it's a credit union when you work with a certain fintech that's opening accounts in 90 seconds, whether it's new AI solutions, or whether it's a credit union doing something unique with their seg that they're just going to do because they have this special relationship and they want to work out. And some of these things are innovative private things that institutions want to do just on their own, and then we'll share the abilities with the industry once they're get a good footing and they've gone through their pilot stages. But we get to participate with institutions all across the U.S. As well as fintechs all over the U.S. and around the world. The speed is important. Most fintechs are talking, so credit union wants to work with a fintech. Usually that conversation gets started and they're usually talking to each other into a core test environment within 3 months. That can be shorter, it can be a little bit longer, but that's usually a good average. But that work is not lost. Masako said it well. The work that's done to help kind of normalize those calls to your core gives an advantage that the next fintech you work with, the next solution that you want to enable, the next integration you want to work with, you already have a base that's already gotten you part of the way there, if not half, 75% or more the way there. And the same way the fintechs then have a leg up. They now are able to talk to not just your core, but also work with other cores. So we're really trying to open up the marketplace so that everyone can choose to work together and also make it more competitive. It's important that there's competitors on our platform so you can choose who you work with. And we all know in the fintech world, one of the scary things is that maybe not every fintech survives, or maybe not every fintech grows to the size that you think they'll grow to, or they get acquired by someone. So one of the nice ways of having a platform that makes the integration standard is we're able to then maybe swap to a different solution if that's needed. And that's an important value we think needs to be there for credit unions. It needs to be there for community banks. For the financial institutions, you really are in control of who uses your data, what partners you work with. And we don't want that to be a limited options. Can you jump to the next slide, Masako?
Yep. For some reason, my thing wasn't working.
So just to give a sense of what's happening already, the 50 plus supported integrations that grows every week. We talk about cores and there's about 15 specific cores and it's growing significantly. We know that cores don't have just one interface. Cores often have multiple interfaces, multiple API standards. Nice benefit of what we do with our clients is those are interfaces that we work with, usually multiple ones within the core. So if we need to transition from one to another because one is retired, we're able to help the credit union and the fintech move to that next solution, usually with minimal, if not zero interruption. We have well over 100 institutions that use our code. That's growing extremely fast because we don't just have, I think Masako mentioned, we have enterprise customers that say, I want to be my credit union wants to work with this fintech solution. But we also have those fintech solutions that say, I now can go talk to all the credit unions that are in any of these 15 cores, and I can help any of them. And so we have credit unions that are growing, or fintechs and credit unions that are working together 3 to 5 a month or more, and that continues to increase regularly. So these numbers just continue to go up. But our idea is that we're not building just once. We're not building it or we are building it once for many. We're not building it once as in it's unique, and then we can't use that and expand that for our industry. So we're really building an ecosystem where people can talk to each other. But we know the regulatory and compliance nature of our industry. So we're not doing something that opens up your data or your core to people that shouldn't have it. It's very important in our industry that you still have a relationship, you still have the contractual governance, you still have the security overview, the regulatory with the fintech or the partner you're working with. So our relationships, while we enable all the connections and we're a part of all of that, you still have that direct relationship with the fintech. You know how they're using your data, what they're using it, and we can help bridge that conversation if it needs to be. But you have that relationship, which is really important. You're not removed and someone's just getting access to your core. That's never what Janusy does. We're working with partners that are enabling what you need to do to help your members to create efficiencies with your employees. And so you have that direct relationship with them. And we help even coach some of our fintech partners on how they need to have the right due diligence packages and some of the regulatory concerns along the way. They're still their own companies, but we see it as part of our role in building this ecosystem that everyone understands how that data flows, how those connections are made with each other, and how data is kept secure, private, and confidential. So we do have a standard canonical model. We don't even mention it on this slide, but CUFX is one of the canonical models we work with. It's one that we see continuing to grow in our industry. For many, many years, CUFX has had great input from leaders in our industry, from credit unions that have kept the standard up to date and furthered it forward. Often what we were missing are the practical use to be able to take a good message set and actually translate it and have it communicate with cores and fintechs to be able to use it and actually have it updated every day. So we have many institutions that don't necessarily think about CUFX, but they're using portions of it or a superset of it, a base of it, and then some expansion in order to enable this. And we see that being something that we want to continue to grow in our industry and grow it by practical use. And we'll continue to have good input from those that are actually using it, from credit unions and fintechs that are contributing to the standard and using that standard. So we're excited to help keep that moving forward. But the real value is being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish, what you need to do for your strategic goals, what you need to do to connect with your members.
Well, the cool thing is that we have actually seen quite a few fintechs that, I mean, we don't know who is all using CUFX, but are using the standard and then come to us because they want a greater platform accessibility to further help the credit unions that they serve. They may have done it for kind of maybe one core, but they have a difficult time doing the translation. So it's been interesting to see some of those fintechs come to us and have the calls already kind of mostly mapped out. So that's been
Yeah,
fun.
that's a great point. This just gives a general, I've touched on a few of these things, but we think it's important to work in our industry, not to understand an API spec, which may not even mean anything to you, but not to understand a standard of how applications talk to each other, but really to understand what we're trying to accomplish for our members, what we're trying to accomplish for our employees, what we're trying to accomplish for the business. So having that banking knowledge, having that understanding of the credit union industry, we have people in Janusy, like myself, like Masako and others, who have lived in the credit union industry, who've lived in the community banking industry, CFI industry, who lived in the core world. A number of our BAs came right from places like Jack Henry or Fiserv or FIS and other cores. So we know the underlying core culture. We also know, we've done integrations with a lot of cores. So we have both the core relationships, some of the kind of the official VIP programs, developer programs. We also just have worked with a number of their APIs and continue to expand that out. You still have the relationship with your core. So that's extremely important. Going through integrations and conversations, we can work with all the test systems. And we know in our industry that a test system is still just a test or development system. Your system is how you use it with your user-defined fields, your tracking records, your special ways of setting up accounts, whether it's type codes or suffixes, and all of these special things that happen in our core that we really work with you on when we work with a credit union and bring them on board with even an individual fintech, but also for larger engagements where we're looking to have a long-term enterprise relationship. So we can help, we call it normalizing that core data, but that helps us move ahead and helps us have the flexibility and methodology of how we do these. We have the standard message sets. This is a whole hosted platform. So we don't install things on your core. Sometimes there are certain integrations like in the Scimitar world, there's power-ons and rep-gens and things that are ran as part of integrations, but there's no Janisy software that's needed from a middleware standpoint. And I don't just mean on your core. We don't have your team. Your network team doesn't have to run virtual servers. You don't have to run physical servers in your environment. We just need the connectivity, secure connectivity. And so we work with your networking team on that. Other than that, we work in a cloud platform, and it's a hosted ability to bring all of that to you. Working with both our core knowledge, fintech knowledge, and the banking knowledge to make an integration to actually get to the business value. That's what we see happen. So we don't talk to credit unions and fintechs about specific, like we don't start at how does this field talk to this field. We talk about what are we trying to accomplish? Are we needing to increase assets, and therefore this solution does sweep accounts so that we can have either high net worth individuals or business accounts be able to earn more interest and be more encouraged to put their money in the credit union? Are we trying to open accounts? And what does it mean to open an account at your institution? Is it just a member account? Is it a business account? Is it a trust? Do you do international? These are all important things that we get into the weeds because that's your world. And that's what needs to actually happen when we're done. We could easily say we can open a new account because every core has an API that's, says, go put this message in and an account gets open. That's not the same as having an account that's usable with digital banking, debit cards, and everything else that's needed to actually have a full-blown member. So we love this space and we love to do these integrations and see new things happen. And we aren't up front, the like sexy front end UI interface that everybody gets to work with. Masako kind of mentioned that earlier, but we do feel honored to be part of the solution. We may be in the background. We're in the background because the technology is in the background, but we're usually in the foreground when it comes to how do we help make sure that initial solution is designed, architected, and moving ahead to enable what this amazing thing that you want to get done with a fintech or software provider or even an internal system where you're not involving that partner, but you know that you need to get data in and out of it. We're really focused on real-time communication, if that hasn't been clear. So we know there's a lot of data warehouses and other data systems where you can get a batch extract and you move a file and you have data from yesterday or last week or last month. Our world is really about how do we get data moving both ways, read and writes, in and outs. And we're excited about that. We've done some expansion where we can actually do more kind of mini batches where we can ask for data. It'll scan for a much larger set and then stream that data back. So we're kind of bridging both worlds. But we see the benefit of both, but our focus is really on real-time connected systems. I guess there's some interesting use cases, and we're just going to highlight these. Won't spend a lot of time on them. We have seen cores always get kind of a bad rap, right? We all use them. We all have different frustrations with using them. Maybe it's support, maybe it's integration, maybe it's the number of solutions they offer. One of the things that Janisy has started to be used for, even has a history being used with some of the community banking world with holding companies. In the credit union space, it's more about partnerships, acquisitions, mergers. So we'll have institutions that want to work together or institutions that are actually merging. And you can take a front end interface, whether it's a digital platform, whether it's a teller application, whether it's a lending solution, and they can actually talk to multiple cores. Once again, our approach is to make sure that you can work with multiple cores. So even in a merger situation, we can extend some of those employee-based tools to a different core and immediately allow employees to be functional and work with that, and sometimes even delay conversion, the traditional conversion. We have institutions working towards the upgrade. A member who is part of a credit union that's been acquired can basically upgrade to, their main account with the primary institution, and the data, new account gets open, money gets moved, and all that stuff happens through integration components. And so we're excited about that. And others, just partnerships, people wanting to share the same services or providing services to a group, especially if it's a group of smaller regional based credit unions, a way to actually do that together. Core conversion planning is an easy conversation on that. You can move ahead with an important thing you need to get done for employees or members, knowing that in the background, we'll just move the integration to the new core. And we've seen people do that, moving between cores already this year with very good success in order to roll out new solutions, whether it was IVR, conversational chat, youth banking, new account opening, and then still be able to maintain that even when they went to their new core. And then just, accelerating digital growth. There's so many things that can be done when data is flowing back and forth that you can do and get real-time information to make business decisions, to help reach out to younger members. We have a number of, I think only one youth account service was on there, and we highly recommend, you look at those youth accounts, but there's other solutions that are coming on our platform that do the similar, alternative options for family banking or a subset of digital banking. We continue to be segmentation of, like, there's digital platforms and then there's specialized digital platforms. And this gives an option for all those to be kind of put together. We could go on and on about the examples. It's amazing what credit unions are doing to help their members. It's amazing what they're doing to have efficiency with their employees, to deliver on their strategies. And as Masako said, not thinking it's going to take them 9 months, a year, 2 years to get things done. Things have to be done in 3 to 6 months. Things have to be done sometimes in 1 month. So how do we make those things happen? We make them happen by planning ahead and using the resources available to all of us in order to help connect things. I appreciate the CCUA. It's a great partnership. I love that they're doing the FinTech Connect. They did a FinTech Connect conference. They've done these FinTech webinars. We work with a lot of these FinTechs and we work with a lot of credit unions who are wanting to work with these solution providers. So we're honored to be a partner of theirs. And just thank you for all those that joined us today. For those that have heard this afterwards, we're available for conversations. And that's whether it's a question about, well, I heard about this FinTech. Is it something that you work with them, or could we work with them, or this is the core I'm on? Is that an active core in general release? Is that a core that is being explored? Amazingly, there are still cores out there that are still expanding resources, but we're excited. I think we have 3 new cores that we expect to come live in the next 2 to 3 months, next quarter. Masako, do you have anything to share here at the end too?
Oh, yes, we're always open to collaborate. I mean, we enjoy the conversations that we have at conferences and others just about how we can kind of move forward together in this industry. I know it sounds really optimistic, but I think that's kind of, you know, important in the credit union world. And I think this collaboration of ideas, let's make it a reality, right? Let's make these technologies that you're really interested in come to life in your environment and in this industry, because there are a lot of great things coming out that we see, and we're lucky to be on the forefront of some of these startups and hearing what they're doing. So it's an exciting time. So yes, please reach out with questions. Let's connect on LinkedIn. We just like the engagement in general as well. So
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. It's
thank you,
been an honor to
CCUA.
share this information. Thank you, CCUA.